Hey, it's Chris. Let's do this roundup this week. We are halfway freaking through August, which means very shortly, maybe this week, maybe the following week, we got to talk about the things you shouldn't back in August and the things you shouldn't buy at retail. And a new special feature, I'm going to be talking about my wish list, my updated wish list, my personal, I want this game, but we're going to flip that one around too. Games that are hot that you should not add to your wish list and why. A slight twist on those two other variations. Because again, what I want, what I need, what I actually acquire, three separate things. As always, you ready? Let's do it. No whammy, no whammy, no whammy. Let's go. So, at the time of me filming this right now, Bloodstones, Day 1, Dwarves and Djinn, Wallace Designs, reprint expansion extraordinaire. Less than $2,000 away from funding. And this is a war game. This is bringing you 6 asymmetric factions with a map or 2 in the base game. I kind of forget if it's 1 or 2, so that's kind of why I hedged my bets right there. But the expansion, more so I'll make maybe the argument, if you're looking at this game and going 6 factions is already enough for me, Chris, well, the 2 new maps in the expansion might be up your ilk, a la the root style aspect of things. But the key feature of this, and they're very clear about this, right? You'll see it like several times on the page as we start scrolling. It is a war freaking game. It's a war game. It's a war game. It's a war game. It's dominoes. And you're going to be using these tiles with the pips on them in order to summon your tanks, units, creatures, whatever you ilk in the first place, a la Marvel Champions, right? Discard to play. Then you're also going to be using them as a multi-use system in order to move and attack accordingly, activating powers along the way, redrawing back up, rinsing and repeating until somebody gets the points that are needed. New solo mode with Turksy here, more maps, right? That's what you're getting here. So multi-use, 1 to 6 players. Biggest barrier is probably 2.5 hour playtime, right? You know, truth be told nowadays. Reprints, everything there. You know, I heard there were some little snafus with the velvet bags or something the first time around, something like that. I don't really know. But if you want to deluxify the bling out of it, army marker add-on, so basically consolidation. If it's like, you know, too big, you can kind of consolidate there instead. And then you've got tile holders, which actually, those things actually look really nice. I'm not sure they have any, you know, real value apart from that, but they look really freaking cool. And then just bigger battle bags. So here are the new kingdoms, the mountain kingdom, dwarves and golems. The sand dweller Djinn can teleport and just kind of be really freaking sweet. Quests are the new expansion content in terms of gameplay as well, giving you quests you can go for, but choosing how you're doing them as a 1 per game multiplayer situation. Solo giving you a different aspect with the same situation. $105 if you want to get all of that I talked about up there above as new stuff, including the bling. $55 if you're just looking at it as the gameplay. Interestingly, then $144 for the all gameplay, which, truth be told, it was selling for like $100, $105 previously. So that's not actually that bad a price, right? That's not bad comparatively, because if it was $100 the first time around and it's $55 for the new expansion content and you're getting it for $144 here, it's not too shabby. So take that for what you will. Third map right there is an expansion stretch goal. So you're going to get your content's worth. But again, this one hasn't shown up in the secondary market. I see people selling it on Board Game Geek probably 2 times a month. And it's ranging from $100 to $150 because people wanted to get in on it. They also want to sell it because it's clearly not for them as a war game. Name a map. Wow, that's sold out. You get to name the map. $250 extra though. Not like a pledge, but $250. So like I said, right? Play a tile, draw a tile, grab a tile, redraw, move, battle, build. Building your villages, building your units, attacking across the board. Seize the moment, win the game. Try it out on Tabletop Simulator. A couple little reviews here you can check out as well, but that is it in a nutshell. Again, I'd put this more on the Wallace design side of things with your Chip Theories, you know, and your HYVE Studios as a deluxified domino game. Only now with a war game theme. So there you go. Rival freaking restaurants. Sporks out, reprint, expansion. After offering you 2 expansions, one of them deluxifies it and also gives you more content, 6 Kickstarter exclusive action cards, as well as one of the other expansions that was a little harder to get in the first place, but it basically gives you 8 players to play simultaneously. So it sort of has a worker placement style vibe, because every round you're going to be going and getting $300 from the bank to start out, and then you go to one particular location, buy your resources, and use those resources that are there to then either trade with your opponents or complete your recipes, right? Get the most points, up to 20, and then you're declared the winner if you're the only one. Now, obviously, there's some tiebreakers there. People must love it, though. 85 grand with a free mini expansion offering you a little bit extra content, right? It's indie, right? There's not a whole lot of exclusivity, except I don't think it's, again, just like Bloodstone's been widely available in the secondary market. As they say here, the deluxe edition, again, this is maybe the harder part, if anything. It's giving you the 6 card exclusives that I mentioned, up to 8 players, and you get little acrylics too, right? Okay. So yeah, right? Money, move, powers, you got a little asymmetry, you got the action cards you're going to be getting and utilizing, as well as your, well, cooking and countering. The Sporks is going to give you an auction. So if you have money left over, essentially, you can actually go and use that to buy other action cards from the Snackle box, as it's called right there. I mean, it's also simultaneous in what you're doing and buying on that move and money phase of things. So, I mean, that's kind of nice. This is a game that has try before I buy written all over it. And does anyone else look at these action cards and think like King of Tokyo, right? Like anyone else? That's just me. I'm taking crazy pills. Anyway, so that's what you're getting here. Deluxify the bling out of it if you want. Again, if I'm, one or the other, it's probably more of a Bloodstones deluxification, but that's just me personally, right? And then this is the other expansion, Back for Seconds. But again, what are you going to be getting in this one? And again, giving more of everything essentially is what it's doing as a whole, right? Now you're getting more restaurant nationalities, a little bit more asymmetry for your base restaurants there in addition. So, not a bad price for it. Again, it's going to be a little bit more expensive because it's indie. So I'm not really sure how this compares to secondary market or like something like Board Game Oracle. But if that many people are getting it right now, I'd make the argument it's probably either one because of the deluxifications that people wanted that couldn't get it, or you just couldn't get it more widely available in the first place, kind of like Bloodstones as well. So there are other games are available here with a few other deluxifieds, including a Literati there that you saw, and then that's pretty much it. They run you through some of the actual chefs that you're going to be dealing, the restaurants and the recipes and the bling and all that stuff. Everything else is there. So again, this is like a big surprise to me. I knew this was one was launching this month. It was one of those that I didn't really have on my radar, but you know what? I might add it to the wish list. Actually, I might add it to the want and trade list. So give it a look-see if you're interested as well. Then Koala Rescue Club. Chris, this one only has $8,000. Why are you talking about it this early in the video? You know what? I'm a sucker for Postmark games. I'm a sucker for their print and play games, right? Wayfarers, Aquamarine, Waypoints. I kind of have a type with them. And this one's a little bit different because as you can see on this picture, right, you have a koala tree situation going on here. And you roll dice, and the dice determine the shape of the trees that you're circling. Or you can use it to quote-unquote rehome the koalas. Rehoming just means circling them up. And as you fill up those recircled spots, you either get the bonuses in the rows or the columns as you're going along. And that's going to give you combolicious stuff, which allows you to earn the merit badges down in the lower right-hand corner. You score after round 15 and round 30, because that's how quick this game is going to play for £5. So are you interested? Right? You should be, because it'll be easier to play than, 97% of the games in your collection. Is it for you, though? That may not be for you. I mean, my wife is a huge fan of this. So, again, I may be talking about it briefly in one of the quick review videos I'll be putting out later in this month. They sent me the copy of, I think, the first map as a reviewer. But truth be told, at the time of me filming this, I haven't actually gotten to the table. But the other thing I'll say with Postmark is that, one, you're going to get your money's worth in terms of maps. Two, with several of those other properties like Wayfarers and Aquamarine, you ended up getting like 4 or 5 maps total, maps, pages, whatever you want to call them. And then you also had a fair amount of good-sized fan content on the Discord side of things. Like, I think with Aquamarine, people were putting out like 2 or 3 others. The same thing with Wayfarers, at least. So, right? You print, you laminate, you go. That's the game, folks. That's all I'm going to say, because, you know what? $6. Less than shipping on any of these other games that you're going to pay for this month. So just think about it for a half a second. And you know what? Tell them Liege sent you. Tir Na Nog Reprint, Graham Gamers Guild. It's my local folks. So they sold out at Grand Con, and they're like, hey, you know what, man? We're striking while the iron's hot. We weren't planning on doing a ton of this stuff, but here you go. Reprint expansion. Even though I think it is somewhat available at retail. But you know what? Again, If people are clamoring for it and you got a resurgence and you got money to make, boom it out and see where it goes, right? That's what you got going on here. You know, truth be told, I remember this came around the first time. I actually remember, I think recently they sent out like a little request for reviews. I was kind of like, you know, I don't know. But looking at this one again, I'd say give this a heavier look-see. Now, I don't like you launching without more details of what the actual like extra content with the expansion module is going to be here. I mean, that's fine and all, but you know, if you're launching it as we're giving you something new, kind of, you know, like the Kickstarter, you know, jumping through hoops sort of thing, come on, a little bit more detail. Otherwise, just wait a little bit. But essentially what you're doing in this game is you're playing 5 rounds of this 3-phase system. And what you're doing is you end up with this little grid that you can see here in the picture. And you have little workers, essentially, that you're going to be placing between cards. And as you lay these down, they have to be touching 2 cards. You can't have the same in a different spot that somebody else is already occupying. Then on the second phase of things, you're going to be taking one of those cards that it touches. Then you put that into your hand and then you play it into one of your 3 Giases. I'm probably mispronouncing that. It's like Geas, you know, that sort of thing. I'm totally screwing up wording, but you don't care. It's this thing right here, right? And that's what you're going to be sort of creating these tableaus in front of you in order to score points. But if you have workers that, again, if you're taking these cards off on a turn-by-turn basis, right, eventually you may have a worker that doesn't have a card to equip or, you know, take back into your own hand. Well, don't worry, because then your worker essentially goes to the other world where you're going to get your different selection of cards in order to get them back into your hand as well. And then you go up into the cleanup phase of things. And then it's essentially just discarding a card down because you start off with like 5 cards in your hand. So then you have 4 cards, and then you have 3 cards, and you have 2 cards, and you have 1 card. And so then by the time the game ends, after 5 rounds, you have no cards at the end when you discard that last one. And so all of these cards are also going to have powers on them in addition. There's colors, there's values, there's ongoing statistics that are going to affect even breaking the rules, as you can see here. A when played, an ongoing, a journey, a saga phase, as well as the end game scoring, moving, swapping, color changing, value changing. That's what you're going to be doing. 15 encounter cards, 3 rows, 5 per at the end. It's possible you may have fewer or lesser, but you know what? That's going to really, well, not work out for your scoring side of things because each of these rows are going to score differently. Each of the encounter colors are going to contribute to the scoring, and each of the sizes are going to score accordingly as well. You can start to see again how it would be here in the row sort of situation. So show me what you got with this expansion. And, you know, I've had this game on my watch list for a while, but looking at this campaign, it's actually going to make me probably think about getting a copy now. So I'm probably going to add to my trade list. So, you know, there you go. Tir Na Nog, just show me what you're getting with the expansion content, and I'm all for it from that side of things. So print and play if you want to as well. What is this? The Blessings and Burden modular expansion plus the Journey 18-card escape room game. You know, that's the other thing it's on here I didn't mention. But like, I don't want to pay for extra content that I don't want. And, you know, you can buy it deluxeified, which again, you know, I get the subplots and the towers expansion, but you're making me pay for deluxeifications. And that'd be my only issue is, okay, well, here it is with just the Burdens modular expansion, the copy of Blessings. So this has all the stuff with some wooden, but that's still more expensive. And I just wager, could I get it at retail with some of the extra content, just a pure gameplay only? But again, that's where you're splitting hairs, splitting dice, and splitting colors and deluxeifications. So is it worth it to wait and try and, you know, piece it out? Or you just say screw it and get it all? Because, I mean, actually, I could probably get it, you know, not shipped because they're local. I think they did that for me with one of the other games. So there you go. Give it a look-see. You know what? This is something you'll never know in this video, but I love crazy socks. I love compression socks. I wear compression socks almost every day to work because they do less standing on my feet. But I just love weird, crazy socks, and I'm kind of known for it locally. Like my family and some of my work folks are just kind of like, oh, Chris, he just wears stupid colors and that never match with anything, right? And so I had to talk about, well, socks right here, right? Socks. All I care, though, is that they're comfortable. They're freaking comfortable. That's what they have to be, freaking comfortable, and not like too loose. I just got some compression socks in the mail the other day that were just like not good. Like they were from one of the, I thought, better websites of like cheaper, but also good. And they just were horrible consistency. Like all 3 of them fit differently in the same size. I was pissed, super pissed. So that's a whole nother story. 10 pairs for $51 though. Is that good? That's good price. It's good quantity. Is it good quality? You know, I don't know. So take that for what you will, but I thought I had to mention socks here. And now you know something more about me. That's all I'm going to say. Socks. Now, $38,000. You'd think $38,000 here at Black Christmas, the game, would get you some info. 50th anniversary of the horror film Black Christmas with a tabletop game tie-in, novelization, and movie prop replica. It has a 3D box on it, right? That's it, right? That's pretty much all of the information about what this game actually is as a whole. So somehow that is getting you $38,000 because you have 95 people that are buying the board game. You have 109 people that are buying a novel game together. $258 is being spent by 12 people. And for some reason, $300, 44 people are spending that as well. So, I mean, that's a freaking metric ton of money for basically having absolutely zero information on here in terms of what this is actually anything about. There's 2 videos on like the resin sample, but you're never going to know how to play this in the first place if you want to, right? Well, it's 20 to 40 minutes playtime for ages 13 plus and 1 to 4 players. That's it. That's it, folks. There, you trace them by figuring out where the killer is calling from. No complicated rules, as it says. $38,000. So, meh. There you go. Here's Octopush. I almost have to think that I'm saying the name wrong, but yes, it is Octopush. $3,200 of its, well, $900 funding goal, essentially. And I wish, again, there was slightly more information on the page, but it gives me sort of an abstract, cute octopi colliding vibe, if you will. Because you have 8 cards that are asymmetric in your hand, all different cards making up the 8. But each player starts with the same 8. And you score points based on basically knocking your own off, but also then knocking other people's off, but also then surviving on the board. And when any one color is completely off, that's when the round ends and you total up. But you want to get 20 points in a round in order to actually win. So you kind of rinse and repeat until somebody can do that because, well, you then reset a little bit and go again. But it's not totally clear either, so that'd be my big question. And I also don't know what half of these 8 cards are because, I mean, there's 2 little samples here, there's 2 little samples down below, and there's a couple of videos that you can check out. But if you want more information, you're going to have to check out one of these little videos because otherwise there's just no other information, right? You get 5 points for sending your own off the board. That seems like a lot, right? So if you could just send off 4 of your own, you'd win. Eliminate other people's, you get 2 points, and if it's left on the board at the end, you get 1 point. So that's the game right there, 2-player run through. And if you want a plusher, handcrafted style of things, you can get that too. So again, kind of cool little octopi as luxifications. Blue Octopus Games is giving you Octopush. Check it out. Then we'll talk about Alien Frenzy, $8,000 just funded at the time of me filming this. As they say, Exploding Kittens meets Uno essentially, but it's a 2-phase system that you're going through. In the first phase, it's kind of like golf, where you're just sort of drawing a card, discarding, draw a card, discard, draw a card, discard to get the best hand that you need for the second phase of things. And so when someone pulls randomly from the deck a UFO card, you go on to phase 2, and then you get a different set of cards, I believe, that you have alien cards in, and the alien cards are pulled with colors with them, and then you have to play a character that corresponds or that can be played alongside of that. Otherwise, you don't get the ability of the card that you had in the first place for, well, whatever it may give you in order to mitigate. But then the game goes until you don't have enough of those character cards left in your hand in the second phase when you pull enough aliens, and then you are just out. And then it's just the last one standing wins. That's straight from the rulebook, folks. There's enough preview videos if you want to. Paid content there to get some, more overview-ish. But, all right, there's all the alien cards. There's the expansion alien cards, supply decks. There's all the characters you're going to be matching up, right? You can see the color scheme situation that I was just talking about. And then the abilities are going to do something else. So watch a video and you can kind of see. And it's going to cost you, well, about $26, base game alone. And you get the deluxe edition for 40 something. And, well, if you want to pay $500 and some dollars too, you can do that as well and develop a character for the game in the first place. But there you go. It's funded, so I wanted to mention it. And that is Alien Frenzy. Locked out, semi-cooperative, competitive social deduction game. It's over 50% funded, 17 of 3,000. And it kind of gives you this, okay, well, there's the ship, you got locked out and you stole a spacecraft after trying to return to your hideout. Tools on board to help you gain control. And, well, if you win, then the high score wins. If not, if you don't succeed in getting control back, the low score wins. You want to know more how to play? Well, there's this one video, which is a video based off of a podcast. And then there's the one link to an Instagram post. That is literally it, folks. Literally right there. That's the whole page. Boom. That's everything. I mean, come on. I need more information than that. For, $15, I mean, that's fine. $5 print and play, but, more info. More info, and you'd probably be funded. I mean, give it a look-see. That's why I'm covering it. Let's go! Then, brief mention of 7th Inning Stretch, the solo game of the month from Gabe Barrett. 16 grand of, well, 5 grand. So already 300% funded at the time of me filming this. It's another baseball style of things where you're going to be drafting in sort of a, you know, bench style of situation and then playing this sort of season-esque vibe going on, not only the individual games, but also sort of the managing in between. And you're going to be basically laying out your cards and then having a pitcher go up, and you're using tokens and dice and resources based on the cards themselves. They're going to be added to the pool in order to mitigate, steal, hit, field, anything along those lines. You know, the rule book is on the page, but I'm going to, you know, refer you to it for more than anything else, because as you can see, this is a lot of text. This is dense text, and there's a lot of it. So I'm not going to give you the best summary in that sense today, but it gives you a little bit of what you're doing here. Like I said, right? A season. You have spring training as phase 1. You're drawing through these yellow tiers. Then the first half of the season, play 3 games against 3 teams, and then individually record the results. There's a trade deadline, a second half with 3 more games, and then preparation for the playoffs. Again, semifinals, finals. It's giving you both aspects of things. The individual games, as I mentioned, a lineup of 9 batters, placing them down, choosing your pitcher, placing a schedule, you know, for the card for your current opponent beneath your lineup there. Again, defensive half, offensive inning, you know, all those things. What you're getting there, depending on what number of the die that you include in terms of rolling them and re-rolling them, and comparing the results on the conditions on the cards to determine the outcome of that at bat. Right? Extended play variant if you want a little bit more to go along with that. 2-player dual mode in addition. So, I mean, Gabe's funded every single month so far, and this one is no different in that sense. Manipulation with a dice mechanic and a card-based driven system. $5 for the print and play, and what is it? $24 for the game itself. So, how to play is right there, and you know what? Throwing it there, and we'll see where GameBound is going with that one. Then we're talking Primates, evolutionary board game with sort of like a Seven Wonders vibe. They give you a nice little breakdown of, okay, what are some of the elements of things and how do they compare to other games you may know. And what you're doing essentially is on a 10-round, 9-round, or 8-round system, depending on the player counts, less players, more rounds. And you're going to be slowly going up this evolutionary tree. No, like literally, if you saw the picture here for a second, I'll show you it. And you're going to be slowly going up these paths using your meeples, gathering resources, evolving, getting ability cards, getting better primates along the way to score victory points at the end of the game. Basically, your turns are broken down into, well, kind of take an action and then draw an environment card and then say you're done, right? And it sounds relatively simple. And so the 3 actions you're going to be taking is you have like a group move action, a solitary movement action, again, going to be dice based because you're going to be rolling a certain number of dice based on your meeples, and you're going to move each of those individual meeples up the track, that number specifically, or a solitary movement, or a rest. A rest meaning that there are going to be bonus cards alongside you. You get to take one to add to your tableau. That's going to help you later on. Now, why I say that the environment card is going to be the second part is because when you're drawing an environment card, that's going to do something to the tree, to the environment actually, that is going to change the dynamic of what is on the board in the first place. More resources, more placements, more locations, whatever it may be along those lines. Then the third thing that I mentioned, right? Like, Chris, you have to declare the end of your turn. Well, you do, because the other caveat that goes along with this is these action cards and these primary ability cards that you're going to be gathering and getting and utilizing along the way can be played at any time in your turn. And so you need to let people know exactly, hey, look, I'm done playing ability cards, essentially. I am officially aficionado done Z's, if you will. And that's what you're going to be doing. And again, it's a point-based system over the certain number of rounds that I mentioned. A little deluxification, a little playmat to go along with that as well, and a whole lot of saturation of all of those things I just mentioned. The bonus, the environment, the extinct primate cards, the ability cards, the extant primate cards as well. So again, it's an absolutely nature animal themed game that has zero problem with the amount of money it's raising on crowdfunding, because I told you that this is the new zombies, right? I told you that this is going to happen, and we're going to see more of it. So if you want deluxe with expansion content as well, mini expansions of lemurs and New World monkeys, well, again, additional 28 cards total, you can pay $59 instead of what just the base game alone is $49. So again, you're going to get it because it's deluxe. That's what they're offering. And, it's got some educational value as well, even on the page, as well as in the rule book. So give that a look-see if you want, from Green Butterfly Games. But truth be told, again, one of the higher funders this week, $25,000, nothing to sneeze at. Next up, Gnomes and Homes, as I like to say, or otherwise known as Gnome Village here. Adorable gnomes building their dream homes, 8,900 to 5,500 already. And it's got a 5-phase system as you're drafting these tiles, building businesses, occupying them with gnomes to increase your income, then in order to score the most points at the end of the game. 4-phase system that you're going to be doing, outlined in the rulebook, revealing the forest cards, resolving it, earning the money that you have based on the gnomes that are sitting on businesses, working at each of the options of the workshop tiles that are face up with abilities, buying further said tiles with the coins that you have, moving across the tiles. And so they can flip it and activate the workshop again if they end up there. If you buy 5 gnomes, that's the end of the game. And it runs you through examples of what this looks like, right? Revealing some of these forest cards, resolving whatever actions or whatever placement it needs to have in the first place, purchasing, activating, using all of those things that I just mentioned. So it gives you a nice little rundown there, as well as what's in the mini expansion. And then you get a little nice light Carcassonne style feel with your Gnome Village building in homes situation. So it's going to be $41 though. So that's not inexpensive. What do we actually got for stretch goals here? The mini expansion, 4 new extra business tiles. Okay. Let's see what else we got down here. Again, little printed on one side screen wise, and then a little bit of upgraded punch board. So, I mean, this is truly indie. So if you want to get the look-see and you want a little bit more tiles with gnomes, what's with the gnome theme too lately, right? Well, there you go. Gnome Village. Homes with gnomes. Gnomes in homes, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Then, best in show, dashing dogs. Again, I need a little bit more information here. And I think the rulebook is maybe somewhere hidden on the page, but I'm just missing it. So what you're doing here essentially is you're choosing these 3 dogs that you want out of all 25 that are available to you. And what it looks like based on this, as you go competing with the judges, earning points, collecting the most after 5 rounds, you choose the 3, roll your dice to put like tokens down on them individually. And then a completed card means you can enter it in the show. And once you get 3, the round ends. And then you roll more dice for each dog in the show to collect points and cards. Cards are more points for yours or minus points for other people's. So you do that 5 times and that's it right now, right? So I wish I could give you a little bit more detail, but they'll tell you how to log into Kickstarter if you need that on the page. So again, no problem with that, but at the same time, right? Like, who's doing this without a whole lot more information, right? That'd be my concern. First time creator, yeah, it's fine, you know, whatever. It looks like they've done a little bit of their homework. But it's 145 people that are going, yeah, I'm okay with, maybe again, if I'm missing it, I apologize, but not a whole lot of rules and, you know, not a whole lot of actual like flow gameplay. You know what? $8,000 is still $8,000 though, so give them a look-see. Last up, I'm talking about it because we're talking about print and place too. HYVE, Colorful Beehive Simulator. It's a roll and color game, it says. I have no idea, right? Aerobellium Games, their first one out there. Again, $5 for the base game. Okay. You want the all-in? You are a big spender this week. $9. It gets you the rule book and 5 variable difficulty levels and a 2-player version and low ink versions of everything. I'm sorry. It's that time of night and it's just, you know, where my head is at right now, right? So you get to actually choose the colors represented by each die, with one of them always being wild. Then roll your dice. Those dice represent your worker bees and you get to send them out to work. Choose the actions, make your combos, rinse and repeat as it goes along, right? Gather your nectar, feed your bees, migrate. Almost sounded like I said in the first take, feed your beads. Seasonal effects that are going along as well as you want to incur. And when each of those has happened, well, the game ends. So you win if you reach the highest space, and you lose if you reach the lowest space with your HP die. So depopulated, essentially, if you will. Check it out if you want, and get a whole bunch of variants to go along with it for $9. Again, less than you'd pay for shipping on everything else. But thought I'd give it a look-see here at the end for you. There you go. Boom. Roundup. Done. Peace out. Stay classy. Have a great freaking... I don't know. I don't have anything else, really. You know, the news, a couple reviews. You know, I'm trying to put out a review or 2 every week right now because I'm way behind on stuff. So, trying to get a ton of stuff played this weekend. And since Leviathan Wilds was out this past week, I don't have any reviews that will be upcoming for the upcoming campaigns this coming week. And I just have one more before the end of the month, I think, that I'm covering. So, yeah. Should be a light August overall, but we'll see what else has in store for, you know, whatever else comes along the way, because your boy likes talking about stuff. As I mentioned at the beginning of spoilers, right? We have the retail, we got the don't back, we got the don't wish list, right? I'm going with it, folks. So the Game Found trying to control everything on the market now with a store and pre-orders and crowdfundings and late pledges and pledge managers and everything. I might talk about that too at some point. So, you know, that's all I got. I'm done. Peace out. It's late at night. It's late. It's dark. I'm getting sleepy. I gotta go edit some stuff. Subscribe if you made it this far. I don't know why you would have made it this far in the video. No one makes it this far in the video. No one does. Type, 375.5 if you're in the comment section and made it this far in the video. Boom! Over.